Hi VC, hi YouTube, it's Rob here with another video, and this video is another part 2 of my car boot adventures. So a couple of weeks of going to car boots, picking up vinyl, most of it for £1, a few things a little bit more expensive, a few things from charity shops as well, but I've got over 25 records to show here, so better get cracking. If you're new to the channel, thanks for watching my video. If you've got any comments about what I show, I'd love to hear from you. So let's get cracking. So the first record that I found at the car boot sale in Oldham was this album. So it's Crosby and Nash, and this album, Whistling Down the Wire. So this album is the third album by Crosby and Nash. I've become a bit of a fan. It's on ABC Records. I've become a bit of a fan of David Crosby. So when I saw this for £1, I had to grab it, and when I listened to it, I wasn't disappointed. Particularly the track Time After Time, I really like that, and Taken at All, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed this album so much, and for £1 it was a bit of a giveaway. When I was in a local record shop at the weekend, I picked this album up, so Crosby and Nash Live. So I did pay £10 for this. So sometimes you pick stuff up, it's on Polydor, sometimes you pick stuff up from car boot sales and it makes you go and spend money elsewhere. So yeah, pleased to have this in the collection as well. I found a 10cc album that I was missing, and it's How Dare You. I think this is from '76. There's a lot of people on that picture there in the gatefold. You know, what's going on exactly, I'm not too sure. The mind boggles. The back of the album. When you're looking at that front cover though, you're kind of wondering what's been going on. Art for Art's Sake's on here as well, and I'm Mandy Fly Me is on here, I think. Yeah. So I think this is '76. This is the one that was missing from my collection. So from Manchester, of course. Always pleased to have 10cc in the collection, and for £1, I couldn't leave it there. So I've not got that much jazz. I know there's sort of jazz threads going around and country tags going around, and I don't really have enough records to sort of join in. Blues tags as well in the vinyl community on YouTube. But I'm always looking for jazz, but I don't see a lot of jazz at car boot sales. But I did see this one, Interpretations, Stan Getz. So for £1, it's on Music for Pleasure. Very early edition, in really good condition. So I picked that one up for £1. Now, I picked this up for £1.50, which I thought was a pretty good deal. So in the early 80s, I was a pretty big fan of UB40. So this compilation is a double album of early UB40 hits. UB40 from Birmingham in the UK, of course. King, My Way of Thinking, The Earth Dies Screaming, Dream a Lie, Food for Thought. So early UB40 I'm very keen on. Later UB40 gets a bit of a bad press, but I don't mind later UB40, but I've not seen this one around for a long time, so let's pick this up for £1.50. It was a bit of a bargain. Now, this album I paid £7.50 for, which at a car boot sale is quite a lot. But there was a seller, I went to Bolton, there's a car boot sale on at the Reebok Stadium. Well, it used to be called the Reebok, I'm not sure what it's called now, where Bolton Wanderers play football, and they started putting a car boot sale on there. So I went on there the other week, and it's a pretty big one, and there was a woman selling vinyl that was all half the mark price. So when I saw this for £7.50. I thought I had to pick it up. Kate Bush and Dreaming from 82. So she had it priced at 15 quid, which in itself is quite a good price. If you go in a record shop, that's probably what you'd pay for it. Now I do have a confession to make about this album. So there's a channel, John Down Under Tunage. Go and check out his channel. And there was a contest on the VC about albums you'd like to hear for the first time that are like your favourite albums, and he chose that he wishes he could hear Dreaming for the first time. Now I've had this album for over 10 days now. I've never actually heard this album, and I've still not got around to playing it. So yeah, I'm looking for it amongst sort of Kate Bush fans, which I sort of class myself as. This is classed as maybe a best album, so why I've never got around to listening to it, I'm not too sure. But yeah, for £7.50, Kate Bush and Dreaming. Another UB40 album for £1 this time. Present Arms in dub. So again, like I say, UB40, I'm a bit of a fan. There was a guy selling vinyl, and he had about 16 crates of vinyl, but it was all in sort of good condition. It wasn't even VG, so he couldn't sort of sell it on Discogs, etc., or eBay, because it just isn't in good enough condition. And this isn't in great condition, but it plays really well. So for £1, really pleased to pick up Present Arms in dub. I think this is from about 82. The 12-inch that I picked up, Split the Atoms, MC Tunes and 808 State. So a couple of Mancunians there. And I've forgotten how great this is. This cost me £1. So that was a nice pickup. Now this was another one from that woman selling her records at half price. So she had it at £4, so I got it for £2. Born of Frustration, 12-inch by James. And James 12-inch is certainly worth £2. So, and it's got a really good dance mix of sound on the B-side. So it's on Fontana. So that's James and Born of Frustration. Another record I picked up for £1, The Friends of Mr. Cairo by John Vangelis. So this is, I think this is from 81, and this has got I'll Find My Way Home on and State of Independence. I do really like State of Independence, and I'm a bit of a fan of Vangelis. I'm looking to pick up as much by him as I can, so find this for £1. A little bit of damage on the sleeve, but nice find for £1. And also there was a guy selling records. They're all in similar condition, but they're all £1. So the Fine Young Cannibals, and this is their debut album. I think it's self-titled. It's got Johnny Come Home on it, and Suspicious Minds, a couple of other singles, a track called Blue. So it's got the inner with it. So yeah, don't mind a bit of Fine Young Cannibals. It's on London. I think that's from about 86. At the Oldham car boot last weekend, the weather wasn't that good, so there wasn't as many cars around, but I picked up a few things. I've never seen this before. Robert Palmer. So this is a 12-inch with 3 tracks on it, and I must confess that I'm getting into Robert Palmer, and I've actually picked up all 4 of those albums up last weekend for a combined price of about £14. And I've found that early Robert Palmer is really good. So this 12-inch picks a few tracks off the albums: Pressure Drop, Best of Both Worlds, and Sneaking Sally Through the Alley. So yeah, a bit of a fan, a bit of a convert to Robert Palmer. About time. He's been around for quite a while. Yeah, I think he died. He probably died about 15 years ago. But yeah, nice 12-inch I've not seen before. And also the Young Disciples, a 12-inch of Apparently Nothing, which was a single that was a bit of a hit in the early 90s, I think, on Chrysalis. So that was a nice pickup for £1. And also, I don't have any Dusty Springfield in my collection. So golden hits of Dusty Springfield. A little bit like Scott Walker, who I picked up from the car boot. I mean, car boot sales are great for sort of picking up those albums cheap that you don't really want to be paying sort of big money for, but you can just find artists that maybe you've sort of neglected from your collection, and Dusty Springfield certainly fits into that category. It's on Phillips. For £1, Shack Attack. So Shack Attack was sort of a bit of a jazzy, sort of dancey band from the early 80s. Had quite a lot of hits. I've not played this yet. Easier said than done's on here, and a track, Nightbirds. But yeah, I don't mind a little bit of Shack Attack. I think it's on Polydor. Rumour. So Graham Parker and the Rumour. This is just the Rumour. I've not actually played this. It's on Vertigo, I think. So again, for £1, do have a little bit of Graham Parker. And this album, I'm not sure, maybe it's from about 78. So looking forward to giving that one a spin. Now, this was a total blind buy. This was 50p from a charity shop, and it's by a band called Wet Willie, and the album's Left Coast Live. So I think this is from 75. There's 6 tracks on this, and I just thought, with my sort of growing love of sort of American rootsy music, or Americana, or whatever you want to call it, like the Allman Brothers, etc., and also getting into the Rose City Band, I just thought this might be a little bit interesting, and it is. I mean, Wet Willie, sort of around the late 60s, wanted to call themselves Fox, but ended up calling themselves Wet Willie, which is probably one of the worst names for a band you could think of. But I really enjoyed this. Yeah, I was sort of neglecting a lot of the stuff that I sort of bought because I wanted to keep playing Wet Willie. So yeah, please pick this up. 50p as well in a charity shop. I picked up Glenn Campbell. This is Glenn Campbell. So there's certain artists that you do see a lot in sort of charity shops. This is on Ember Records, and if you're in the UK, you do see sort of Glenn Campbell albums around. And if I see them for 50p, a little bit like sort of Ray Charles, I will sort of pick them up because I do like Glenn Campbell. I mean, there's the country tag that's going around, I can't just show 20 Glenn Campbell records, so I've probably got about 4 or 5 now. I picked this up. This is an album that you do see people showing the VC. Seem to pick it up pretty cheap. Spyro Gyra and Morning Dance. I think this is from 1980. Another one that I've not actually played yet, but I've heard good things about it. Thought for £1 it was a nice addition to the collection. Not sure on the label, but yeah, Single Morning Dance was a bit of a hit. So yeah, Spyro Gyra for £1. Now, in the charity shop, all the records were half price, and there was some pretty decent stuff in there. So I picked up the Golden Hour of the Kinks, Volume 2. So it's got a price of a tenner on it, but it's actually a £5. A lot of these tracks on here I don't know. In fact, I don't think I know any of them. So when it comes to the Kinks, I don't have a lot of vinyl by the Kinks, and I'm one of those people who kind of a big fan of the singles, but I've just never really gone that much further. There's the sort of track listing, and like I say, on this album, It's Alright, Wonder Where My Baby Is, I Need You, Such a Shame, tracks that I don't actually know. So yeah, this is on, I think it's on, is it on Pi? So it's on Golden Hour Records. So these were like budget reissues, I suppose, sometime in the 70s. And next to it for a fiver as well, Golden Hour of the Kinks, 60 minutes of entertainment. And this has got all the hits on it, like Autumn Almanac, Waterloo Sunset, Sunny Afternoon, Tired of Waiting for You, You Really Got Me. So this one's a really good comp, and for a fiver, a bit of a giveaway. And this is an album I've been looking for a long time, for £4. And it's I think this is Chicago's debut album. So every time I see this album, it's on CBS. I think it's from late 60s. It's always really beat up, and it is pretty beat up, the actual album sleeve, but the records are in good condition. And yeah, for £4, I wanted that in my collection. Early Chicago, I really like. Now this was a bit of a blind buy, and it was £8. The Best of Mountain. So when I looked up about these guys, it said heavy rock, and I did have a little listen, and I just thought, you know what, I don't know what's coming over me, but I'm sort of getting into maybe a little bit more rock music, should I say. And I really enjoyed this. I'd never heard of Mountain, sort of from the late 60s, early 70s. I did mention them on one of Rachel's live streams, and Mississippi Queen seems to have been sort of a bit of a one-hit wonder. But there's a track on here, I can't quite remember which one it is, and it's the World in Action theme. When you listen to it, it just springs into it. And I found myself really enjoying Mountain. And it was funny, I went in a record shop over the weekend and I saw 2 Mountain albums, so I did resist them. But yeah, the Best of Mountain, I found myself really enjoying. Now I do have a few 7-inch singles to show, that I picked up, 3 for £1. So Prefab Sprout, If You Don't Love Me, from '91, which was released as part of the greatest hits that came out, so on Kitchenware Records. Dream Academy and Love, which is a cover of the Beatles song, I think. Is it Beatles or John Lennon? Someone can have a go at me for that, but yeah, Dream Academy, and a big hit of course with Live in a Northern Town, which I really like. Flock of Seagulls, I Ran. And the guy who sold me this said this was such a big hit in America because of, if you look at Iran, it actually says Iran. Whether that's true or not, I'm not too sure. But I know it was a big hit in America, not so much in the UK. It's on Jive. So yeah, 3 for £1, pretty good. Walking on Thin Ice, Yoko Ono. I've always liked this single, and it's actually got an insert with it as well, with the lyrics, which I thought was pretty nice. Yoko Ono there on Geffen. Trip to Trumpton, Urban Hype. So Trumpton, kids TV show from the 60s. Absolutely love it. This is a bit of a good dance tune. And finally from 1980, Grace Jones, and cover of Love Is a Drug, Roxy Music song. So as you can see, I picked up a bit of everything. Show 4 CDs for £1, so can't really go wrong with Beck and Mellow Gold. Emergency on Planet Earth by Jamiroquai. Gorilla by Super Furry Animals, The Welsh Wonders, and Jamiroquai. And this one, A Funk Odyssey. So CDs just so cheap, 4 for £1. And finally, a little bit of fun. Found this for 50p. Steptoe and Son, Wilford Bramble and Harry H. Corbett. I saw this for 50p and I just couldn't resist it. Don't know when I'm going to play it, but I am a big fan of Steptoe and Son. So I managed to show all those records in 20 minutes. The Car Boots, just a great place to pick up cheap vinyl. Like I said before, if you've got any comments about what I showed, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching my video, and bye for now.